What if I told you that dragons were real? Not metaphors, not symbols, real animals, with bones you can hold in your hands. What if the monsters from our oldest stories weren't invented? They were remembered? We've always been told the same thing. Dragons, one-eyed giants, griffins, just myths, just imagination, just stories people told around fires. But here's what they never told you. Our planet has a hidden history of monsters. Creatures so massive, so bizarre, so terrifying, that when their bones were finally discovered, people had no words for what they were looking at. So they did the only thing they could. They turned them into legends. Ancient Greek farmers digging in the earth, Scythian gold miners crossing the desert, Chinese scholars, Roman soldiers, all of them stumbling upon enormous, impossible remains. No paleontology, no science, no explanation, just bones the size of boulders staring back at them. These people weren't writing fiction. They were doing the only thing the human mind does when it encounters something it cannot explain. It builds a story around it. They were, without knowing it, the world's very first fossil hunters. And the creatures they discovered still haunt us today. The line between myth and reality is not just blurry. It never existed. And today, we're going to prove it. The Griffin and the Dinosaur. Let's start with a classic, the Griffin. You know the one, the body of a lion, but the head, wings, and talons of an eagle. It was a symbol of power, a guardian of treasure. The ancient Greeks, like the historian Herodotus, wrote that griffins lived in the mountains of Scythia, modern-day Central Asia, where they guarded huge deposits of gold. For centuries, it was just a cool story. But what if the Scythians weren't just making it up? What if they were finding real skeletons? In the 1990s, folklorist Adrienne Mayer proposed a game-changing theory. She pointed out that the region the Greeks linked to griffins, the Gobi Desert, is an absolute gold mine for dinosaur fossils. Specifically, the fossils of a dinosaur called Protoceratops. Okay, so take a look at a Protoceratops skeleton. It's a four-legged animal, about the size of a big sheep, which lines up with the griffin's lion-sized body. It's got a sharp, prominent beak, just like a bird of prey. But here's the kicker. It has a big, bony frill on the back of its skull. If you're an ancient nomad who's never even heard of a dinosaur, what could that frill look like? Maybe the broken stumps of wings. The connection is uncanny. Imagine you're a Scythian miner in the Gobi. The wind has uncovered a weird skeleton with four legs, a bird beak, and what looks like the stubs of wings. Not only that, these fossils are often found clustered together, as if a whole flock died at once, sometimes even protecting nests of fossilized eggs. A beast that lays eggs and guards its nest. Sounds a lot like a griffin. Now, to be fair, scholars point out that griffin-like creatures were already showing up in Egyptian and Middle Eastern art centuries before the Greeks wrote about Scythia. But the incredible stories told by nomads who were literally tripping over Protoceratops fossils along trade routes almost certainly supercharged the legend, cementing the image of the griffin we know today. They weren't just inventing stories about gold-guarding monsters. They were describing the incredible bones they were finding in the ground. The Cyclops and the elephant skulls. All right, from the deserts of Asia, let's head to the Mediterranean islands, home to one of the most famous monsters ever, the Cyclops. In Homer's Odyssey, our hero Odysseus runs into Polyphemus, a monstrous, one-eyed giant who lives in a cave and, has a bad habit of eating his guests. The Cyclopes were a whole race of these giants with a single, massive eye in the middle of their forehead. It's a terrifyingly specific image. So where did it come from? The answer isn't a monster. It's the skull of a prehistoric dwarf elephant. Back in the Ice Age, islands like Sicily, Malta, and Crete were home to these miniature elephants, some no taller than a pony. After they went extinct, their bones were left behind, often in the exact same caves the Cyclopes were said to live in. And here's the crucial part. If you've never seen an elephant and you stumble on its skull, you're going to be very confused. An elephant skull has a giant single hole right in the center. A biologist would immediately recognize this as the nasal cavity, where the trunk muscles attached. But to an ancient Greek, it looks exactly like a single, massive eye socket. The actual eye sockets are small and on the sides, easy to miss. The paleontologist Othenio Abel famously proposed this theory back in 1914, and it remains one of the best examples of a myth being born from a fossil. The locations match up. The islands where the Cyclops myths were strongest are littered with these fossils. Imagine you're exploring a cave in Sicily and you find a collection of giant bones and a skull twice the size of a human's with one huge hole in it. You're not going to think extinct pygmy elephant. You're going to think you found the lair of a one-eyed giant. The Cyclops wasn't just a bedtime story. It was a prehistoric reality seen through ancient eyes. Dragons and the bones of the earth. Of all the monsters, the dragon is the undisputed king. It shows up everywhere, from the fire-breathing beasts of Europe to the wise serpents of Asia. How could so many different, unconnected cultures all invent such a similar monster? Maybe they weren't inventing it. Maybe they were finding it. In China, the connection is so direct, it's almost cheating. For centuries, fossils have been called dragon bones, longu. They weren't just curiosities, they were a key ingredient in traditional medicine. Paleontologists have found that many dragon bones sold in old apothecaries were actually the remains of dinosaurs and other extinct beasts. Ancient Chinese texts even pinpointed where to find them. A 4th century scholar wrote about a mountain in Sichuan province where dragons fell from the sky. And today, Sichuan is one of the richest dinosaur fossil sites in the world. Even recently, scientists in China have unearthed incredible fossils of long-necked aquatic reptiles that look uncannily like a mythical Chinese dragon. It was the same story in Europe. In Klagenfurt, Austria, the city's emblem is a dragon called the Lindwurm. The legend says it terrorized the region before being slain. The inspiration for its head? In 1335, a massive skull was found in a quarry. It was declared to be the Lindwurm's head and put on display. We now know that skull belonged to an Ice Age woolly rhinoceros. Elsewhere, the skeletons of giant marine reptiles like ichthyosaurs with their long bodies and toothy jaws were found in coastal cliffs and easily mistaken for sea dragons. Dragons weren't born from pure fantasy. They were a rational explanation for finding the colossal bones of creatures unlike anything seen in human memory. Our ancestors found the skeletons of dinosaurs and giant rhinos and called them the only thing that made sense. Dragons. The unicorn and the Siberian giant. The unicorn, a creature of purity and grace. A white horse with a single spiraling horn on its head. For centuries, people believed they were real, just hiding in some faraway land. But what if the legend started with a real animal? Not a delicate horse, but a massive, furry, one-horned beast from the Ice Age. Meet Elasmotherium sibiricum, better known as the Siberian unicorn. This was a real animal, a giant rhino that roamed the grasslands of Eurasia. And this thing was a beast. It could be over 15 feet long and weigh up to 5 tons, making it as big as a mammoth. And based on the huge dome on its forehead, paleontologists believe it had a single, enormous horn, possibly several feet long. Now, here's where it gets wild. For a long time, scientists thought Elasmotherium went extinct over 350,000 years ago. But recent dating shows it was still alive as recently as 39,000 years ago. This means that early modern humans absolutely coexisted with it. They saw this animal. Imagine you're an early human on the vast cold steppe, and you see a creature the size of an elephant, covered in shaggy fur, with a single massive horn on its head. You would never forget that. The memory of a giant, fuzzy rhino passed down through countless generations could easily get twisted over time, morphing into the story of a mystical, horse-like unicorn. The unicorn wasn't just a fairy tale, it was a folk memory of a real Ice Age giant. The Yeti and the giant ape. From the frozen peaks of the Himalayas comes the legend of the Yeti, the abominable snowman. In North America, there's a similar legend, Bigfoot. For most people, these are just fun campfire stories. But the fossil record offers a tantalizing candidate for the real creature that might have inspired them all. That creature is Gigantopithecus blacki, the gigantic ape, and they mean gigantic. Standing nearly 10 feet tall, it's the largest primate known to have ever lived. It lived in the forests of Southeast Asia, and here's the key. It survived until about 215,000 years ago, meaning it lived alongside early human species. The theory is that legends of the Yeti are a lingering cultural memory of this real-life giant ape. An encounter with a 10-foot-tall ape would be a terrifying, unforgettable experience, the kind of story that gets passed down for generations. Over thousands of years, as the ape disappeared, the story lived on, evolving into the myth of the Yeti. Some have even speculated that a group might have crossed the Bering Land Bridge into North America, giving rise to the Sasquatch legends there, but that's pure speculation with no fossil evidence to back it up. Still, the overlap in Asia is compelling. The evidence for the Yeti today might just be footprints in the snow, but the origin of the legend might be written in the fossil record. So you see, the world of our ancestors was a very different place. It was a world where the bones of giants were a part of the landscape, proof that an age of monsters was real. The griffins of the desert, the Cyclops in their caves, the dragons in the mountains, they were all based on something tangible. Our ancestors weren't just telling stories, they were doing science without the instruction manual. They were observing, hypothesizing, and creating narratives to explain the fossil evidence they kept digging up. These legends are a bridge to a lost world, a testament to the incredible creatures that came before us and the human drive to make sense of the unknown. The monsters weren't just in their heads, they were under their feet. What do you think? Is there another mythical monster you think has a real-life prehistoric counterpart? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed digging up the truth behind these ancient legends, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden history of our world. Thanks for watching.